How's it going, folks? It is Matt back with another crypto video, and as the title suggests, today I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I think Cardano has a pretty good chance to increase in value over the next couple years. I do have a lot of information to cover today, so I'm going to start by giving you my what the 3 points are, and then I'll kind of backtrack and kind of give details onto each point. And just keep in mind that this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just doing my own research into this project, and coming up with 3 reasons why I think it has potential to have some gains, maybe in the short term here a little bit, and then especially years down the road as adoption of cryptocurrency continues to increase. I will say this video is inspired by this interview I just watched not that long ago, but it's an interview between Charles Hoskinson and cryptosomniac, and it's over an hour long. I watched the whole thing, and there's a lot of good information in there coming from Charles Hoskinson. This man is just I love watching his videos. So the first reason I'm long-term bullish on Cardano is the roadmap. Both here in the short term with the release of Shelley, and especially long term when through the year 2020, if Cardano can accomplish all of their goals that they've set out to do. So the second reason I'm long-term bullish on Cardano is their marketing, or I guess you could say the lack thereof. But as quoted in that interview I was talking about, Charles Hoskinson said, "Can we do a better job of marketing? Sure, but the question is, when do you market?" He was later quoted as saying, "You market when you want a certain group of people to adopt your platform." And he's also quoted as saying, "Marketing will come, but it will come in a responsible, sustainable, and organic way. And it will come in phases as the capabilities of the platform evolve." So that tells me, he's not looking to market or hype up the project when it's it's not complete yet. So as the project becomes more complete, as its capabilities expand, that's when they will start to market it. And I expect that to have some impact on its value as well. And the third reason I'm long-term bullish on Cardano is their target market. Going after these developing countries. They're going into developing countries and training programmers. They're creating schools in India to create blockchain developers. They're helping coffee farmers in Ethiopia. Going after these countries that don't have access to traditional banking systems is genius. There's trillions of dollars in these developing countries that, like I just said, don't have access to legacy systems because it's too expensive for JP Morgan, Chase Bank to implement their infrastructure required to bank these individuals. But providing a blockchain solution is really the perfect answer to their problems. So getting back to the first reason why I'm bullish on Cardano in the roadmap, short term here, in Q1 of this year, we're expecting the release of Shelley, where Cardano will enter its fully decentralized and allow the ability to stake ADA. And in the short term, I do think that has the potential to translate into an increase in value. I don't think it'll be astronomical. It could be, but at the same time, it couldn't do anything at all. If XRP's listing on Coinbase is a recent example that hype, or I guess excitement in the market seems to have died at this point. And people are now waiting on the adoption of it to I guess start to happen. But there is the potential for people to start to accumulate more of it once you're able to stake ADA and earn passive income simply by holding it. And in this interview that I watched, Charles Hoskinson was quoted as saying, "Shelley is almost to a point where it's ready to launch the testnet, and this is going to happen very soon." And, he also said that the testnet is not going to be a proof of concept. It's going to look very similar to what the final product will look like. And then he also, told us the three things that need to happen after the testnet until it's ready to be, mainnet and launched live. And those 3 things are, one, they got to add the incentive to the system, for staking ADA. They also have to, layer that onto the Haskell wallet backend. And then ultimately they need to connect that to the dataless wallet. And he said that once all that is put together, then it will be ready for the main net. And he said that once all that is in place, that pound for pound, we can do everything Ethereum does, but better. And we're a lot faster and we're a lot cheaper to operate. And in my view, a much better path to scalability. And Charles also went on to state that past Shelley, it'll be easy to implement their light clients and that will make the dataless wallet the fastest wallet on the market by you not needing not being required to have a full copy of the blockchain to get the full client security. So like I said, once Shelley is released and it is fully decentralized and you can stake ADA and earn passive income, I do think that has the potential to increase the value in some way. You know, time will tell. But when you're looking past Shelley on Cardano's roadmap, you know, up from the release of Shelley up until the end of 2020, in that same interview, Charles also mentioned 3 issues that they're trying to tackle, and that's scalability, interoperability, and sustainability. He mentioned that to solve the issues of scalability, they're looking into Ouroboros Hydra, which will basically allow them to create side chains or parallel chains that run and communicate alongside the main chain of Cardano. You know, they're also looking into a second solution, a second layer solution, similar to Lightning Network, according to Charles Hoskinson. And, you know, he said that with so much money and research and development already going into these second layer solutions, he said that Cardano may just pick the best one and implement it instead of building their own from scratch. When talking in terms of solving the issues of interoperability, Charles Hoskinson said they had 2 approaches that they were looking at. One would be the pragmatic approach, where you, again, choose a reasonable protocol that you can just implement into your existing technology, and he even pointed out, you know, Interledger as a possible solution. He said that the other option was to remain optimistic with their own research, and that, you know, use the research that they've done into creating side chains with proof of work and proof of stake chains. Looking past interoperability and moving on to the issues of sustainability, Charles said that they're looking to finalize the Cardano improvement process, and basically, you know, using mathematical equations to prove that everything is following the specifications. You know, basically using math to make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to be working. He also said that they're looking into implementing a treasury system similar to something that Dash has done. Charles went on to say that by 2020, Cardano could become one of the greatest cryptocurrencies there is, and he said it will allow developers to bootstrap almost instantly. He said Cardano will be able to talk to pretty much any other cryptocurrency. It'll have a great smart contract language. It'll be interoperable. It'll have side chains, you know, running parallel to the main chain. He said it'll also have a sustainable governing system for making decisions and spending money, which, you know, through the creation of the treasury, extend its financing past the year 2020. So moving to the second reason as to why I'm bullish on Cardano is the marketing and you know, or lack thereof. As I said earlier, you know, once they do have Shelley released, you know, once they are making more progress down the roadmap, is when you know, they will start increasing the marketing. And, you know, I just see, you know, increased marketing obviously having a positive effect on the whole ecosystem. You know, and Charles Hoskinson in that interview broke down 3 different growth models that they have, you know, in terms of marketing. He said that the first one would be the organic growth, you know, people just adopting it because they've, you know, I guess done their research into it and they believe in the ecosystem and they're, you know, they want to support it, so they've invested in it. So part 2 of their, you know, marketing growth model is the developers. You know, Cardano certainly has the potential to draw in some of the top developers out there. As pointed out in that interview, Charles is saying, like, you know, the fact that they're writing in Haskell programming language, you know, the fact that they're doing all of these, you know, superior things, it's not something that your typical Java or C++ developer gets to do on a regular basis. You know, Charles said that it's, you know, they're doing like once in a career type things, so that definitely you know, sparks the interest of, you know, some of the best developers out there that want to be a part of that. And as Charles said, you know, it gives them the opportunity to write some sort of protocol that, you know, could become the standard protocol for the next 50 years. And, you know, it's certainly drawing these high-level developers certainly gives them the ability to draw high-level investment. You know, they could draw the investment of venture capitalists instead of having to launch an ICO to raise funding. And, you know, we're already seeing proof of this through Y2X, who's looking to invest in legitimate projects that will build their products on the Cardano blockchain. And as I reported, you know, not that long ago with D-Lab, they've now funded 4 different projects that will launch their products on the Cardano blockchain. And, you know, I think one is HelixWorks, I believe, where they are looking to add like DNA tracking to, you know, products that go through the supply chain so you can track its authenticity. And he said that reason, or point three to their growth model was the enterprise strategy, where they were bringing millions of people to the platform organically. And he used one example of using coffee farmers in Ethiopia. And once all of their growing data, their spending data and the logistics of shipping the coffee, once all that data is on the blockchain, everyone that's involved in that process, as he pointed out, now has a digital identity that is connected to a digital wallet, and that wallet is connected to ADA, and that opens up massive peer-to-peer lending potentials, potential to get insurance on your crops in these developing countries. And that leads me into my third point of why I'm long-term bullish, and that is their target market, these developing countries. There are trillions of dollars that are just unbanked. There's also a high potential of adoption rate of this technology in these developing countries due to the fact that there's not a legacy system already in place. People won't be choosing between, do I keep my money in Chase Bank or do I choose Cardano? So there's not a Chase Bank there. So, the option is carry the cash around, and that cash is always losing value due to poor, economic policies in their country, or they could use Cardano's blockchain and, basically become their own bank with their own with the cell phone in their hands, and again that would just bring trillions of dollars into some sort of economic inclusion. And in terms of helping business in developing countries, farmers, putting coffee farmers in Ethiopia on the blockchain has the potential to benefit the farmers and investors around the world. As pointed out in that interview, these farmers in Ethiopia are facing increased pressure for fair trade. They're facing increased pressure for reducing their CO2 emissions, and they're facing increased pressure for creating a sustainable system because, as pointed out, 90% of the biodiversity in Ethiopia has vanished over the last century. And really these types of systems, being sustainable, reducing our carbon footprint, and being fair trade is something that needs to be on a global level, not just in Ethiopia, but Ethiopia is a prime example. And once all of the data that like I said, the tracking is in place, that everyone that's involved has that digital identity, and as Charles Hoskinson said, you can see what they own, you can see what they produce, and then when you add in the accounting system, which is the wallet that is connected to ADA, it now allows foreign investment to pour into these economies. If the farmer needs X amount of dollars to increase his yield, an American investor can send the farmer money directly. He can produce his, increase his yield, and then the American investor is guaranteed his repayment through the use of a smart contract. And as pointed out in that interview, if that could also be like a group of farmers, and the whole group of people would have to repay the investors, or if something went wrong and they were unable to repay them with currency, then they could repay them with a portion of their land, and then eventually they would have to buy that land back from them. Tokenizing assets is going to be a huge part of the future. So those are the three reasons why I'm bullish long-term on Cardano. One being the roadmap here in the short term with the release of Shelley, plus everything they can accomplish between now and 2020. The other reason is marketing. Once they are starting to become a complete product, they can start the process of marketing and hopefully increase the value of ADA. And then lastly is their target market of going into these third world countries.